Hi guys, what you're about to see is pretty unprecedented. Former founder of a TV channel described how his creation has ended up being a channel of nutters for nutters. Now, Andrew Neil, the veteran Conservative broadcaster, was speaking to a parliamentary committee this week where he described how GB News, which he helped form, descended into a loss-making mess. Neil was extremely frank in his language about the current state of GB News and its future. Have a listen to this.
What I didn't want it to become, I could see it was happening, which is why I left almost immediately, was an outlet for bizarre conspiracy theories or anti-vaxxers or basically the nutty end of politics. That's
Fox
not
News.
Which Fox News is, I say, very good in quotes at. And in America, there's a bigger market for that. There's no market in Britain beyond a hardcore of nutters. Am I allowed to say nutters? I just said nutters.
So is the outlook for GB News, as far as you're concerned, fairly gloomy? Not just because you're because they got the model wrong.
I need to be careful what I say here because I'm quite surprised that GB News has survived as long as it is. And I'm even more surprised that it sold off Talk TV. I actually thought Talk TV might do real damage to GB News because it did have better production values. And it wasn't so conspiracy theory. It had a variety. Yeah, I think it did kind of lean to the right, but it had a variety of opinions, and they weren't all to the right. I think GB News has found, to my surprise, it's found a niche for itself, but it's not a very big niche, and it's not a niche that can ever be profitable. Now it is lost in, it started running in January of 2021, launched in June of 21. We're now coming up to June 24, so 3.5 years. It has lost over £90 million. And it lost more in year 2 than it lost in year 1. Whereas the original business model was to break even by year 3. I think I'm pretty safe in saying that won't happen. So if there's a bunch of people who want to carry on financing it because they like the ideology, well, that's up to them. But I find it very hard to see how it can ever be profitable or even break even.
Which begs the question, what did you expect was going to happen? Because when he was founding this channel, it was described as the British Fox News or Britain's Fox News. And he cheered that on. So now he's saying that, well, it has become like Fox News. A channel of nutters for nutters. A very small niche. And this small niche, he said himself, is not profitable. But what was his goal? What was he hoping to achieve? Because if you look at the rhetoric before, you listen to the rhetoric before the launch of GB News, it was Britain's Fox News, it was the anti-woke. He describes, he went on TV saying there would be no woke on this channel. So I find it very strange that he's complaining that it has become sort of a niche when he described it as a niche when he when he was launching it. So you can't really turn around and now complain that it's not profitable, it's a mess, it's nutters accommodating nutters, when that seems to be what it was designed to do in the first place. Remember, GB News, Britain's Fox News, GB News, no woke zone, something like that. So you can't turn around now and complain that it's a disaster. But he's correct that it's no longer profitable. And it seems one of the biggest donors has decided to pull his money. And it has also, I believe, laid off 40 members of staff. I don't know if those two things are connected, but it means that the channel is not doing very well. And it's not going to do well going forward because it's going to lose two big names, Lee Anderson and Jacob Rees-Mogg. Lee Anderson is probably going to lose his seat and Jacob Rees-Mogg may lose his seat. But if the Conservatives are out of power, then it's a bit pointless having Tory MPs pushing Tory narratives if the Tories are not in power. So, and of course, Reform UK are not going to be are not going to be grabbing the headlines after the election as they are before. So what is really the point of GB News going forward? I have said before that it's about pushing the Conservatives further to the right, using issues like wokeness or the culture war or immigration in order to convince the Conservatives to implement right-wing economic policies. And maybe that was the goal at the beginning, that they were hoping that it would become a massive platform and it would be pushing these right-wing economic policies that Andrew Neil probably agrees with. But it has come to nothing, or very little. It's a joke. So going forward, unless some people still think that there's money to be made there, which I don't think, which he doesn't think and I don't think, then it's just going to be a sort of niche where they push weird stuff, hoping that it will filter down into society and will convince some people to vote against the status quo or whatever the case may be. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.